Again, welcome everybody. We got a small class today, which might be pretty good, so we don't have two missions there towards the end. I am going to go ahead and mute you in a couple seconds here. If you do have any questions, just go ahead and type them into the chat. We'll get to all of them later. Let me go ahead and mute you now. Yeah, I can't either. So I guess let's just try and keep it a little hushed out there. So welcome. I think the only person I didn't know was Mio's department. So I went ahead. I'm going to go ahead and grant you access to the nursing site. So what today is probably second to last training we're going to be doing on SharePoint 2013. So we refer to them a lot by the year, as the version. So SharePoint 2013, we started with, actually the original was called WSS. I called it 2003. So SharePoint 2003 was here. We moved to 2007. We kind of jumped over 2000 right into 2013, which we've had now since for about 4 years now. Now it's time to upgrade again. We're going to be going to SharePoint 2016, but we're not quite ready to give you that training yet. So that's kind of the bad news, but the good news is all stuff you're going to be seeing here will apply to 2016. So you will be able to go ahead and continue working. As you see in this demonstration, the screens are going to be a little bit different, and I'm not sure if you attended the orientation, but there we did give a nice orientation of how the screens are going to change. We're moving to, a responsive screen, and just all different kinds of new modernizations that we needed to implement back in 2013, but we needed to go with what was tried and true. Now we've learned all our lessons. We're ready to take that step. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to take a look at the agenda next. First things that we've always covered in training is the site hierarchy. I'm going to show you a screenshot of that, kind of illustrate that for you. From the global down to the department level, which is where your lives begin, with the accounting sites, nursing sites. Those are all department level sites. That's where you're getting trained to manage. And then we go down to the My Department site. That's a sub-site of that department site. There are other sub-sites, not just the My Department site. So that's considered your private site. That's your sub-sites or your private matter. You can deal with them however you want, where you have your PTO calendar and stuff like that. We'll take a quick look at that too. Next is we're going to cover the site content, right? So we have the framework, that's the site hierarchy, how things fit, and it's basically a folder structure. It quite literally is. Ones go, and the permissions given, and, that's how you run a website. What goes in it is called the site content. So that's in point it's called apps, and there are things like lists and libraries. I'm going to look at some screenshots of that and go through some demos as well. And finally, we'll put it all together. I put together a quick site on our IT site about a potluck for the holidays. It's always my favorite way to demonstrate things is, for some reason, the potlucks. So let's go ahead and take a look at the global site hierarchy. This next shot here. So that's what we mean when we say the global level of the intranet. It's that home page. So home page is managed by us. It's not open for you all to admin. And we can see a few things here. I don't know if I can. Well, I'm not going to get too fancy, but I'll just describe what I'm pointing out here. That dark blue bar that starts out with the little house and ends with support. That's our global navigation bar. And from there, you'll be able to get to those essential things. It's kind of changing in the new version, but we've made sure to incorporate everything back into the site design. You'll still be able to get to everything. I think what we moved out was news, and we'll decide where inside MCHS goes, and the applications is getting a total revamp. So it'll still be front and center. Again, if you didn't get the chance to see that orientation, I can send you a link and you can watch the recording. Over on the side there, we have the navigation. That's our left navigation. It's visible in all sites. It's kind of changing too in the new version. Below that, there's the new look countdown. That's a spotlight section. It's also in the site, just a little bit lower down. And, kind of stuff's going to be going away pretty soon. Just a new look and feel to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next level, which is where your world, where your domain begins. And it is the department or public level site. Let me see, who was it? Erica Aries is the person over in the accounting site, and She's one of my best students. She's done a tremendous job there. She had marketing come up with a nice custom banner for her. She put that there. She was able to figure out how to put Michael Durr's picture in a custom director's message there at the top right. She's the one that did it there. We were able to work together and put that video that you see down there about the W-2 video. She was able to learn and go to YouTube, work with marketing to up videos into our Tube account, and then she's able to take that embedded code, put it into the website, and she just makes it look really nice. So that's one of my favorite sites to show off here. So again, this is the department level site. The next level will be one folder down, one level down, and that is my departments. Now we're looking, I can't even tell what site this was, but a lot of sites look like this. Because as you get the word out to everybody else, well, we kind of talk, maybe it's a small department that I took this screenshot from, and maybe it's not a whole lot of stuff you need to do in that site. It's totally up to you. In fact, we can give people permissions as you decide. If you want to give somebody admin rights to add pictures to it and stuff like that, hey, that's your place. You can go ahead and work. Just be patient if you need me to help you, put things back to normal. So that's your domain. This is where the PTO calendars usually live. I can't click on the lists. They're pretty sure if I did, we would see the PTO calendar there. So again, this is just your own domain there. The thing is that I wanted to tell you about our apps. So I mentioned in that one of those slides, the first slides, and let me go ahead and click here. So this is a screen that we're going to be seeing again in a little while when I start demoing all this for you. And what this shows are just some samples of the apps that you can add. So the top three are the primary. And I want to mention the tasks one first because it's really not within the scope of this training. Tasks are pretty advanced, and we generally work on them here only. In fact, not generally. We always are the ones to work with tasks. They can get a little bit difficult, and they have a lot of power, which means a lot of potential issues come from it, in that they can send out emails to people and things like that. So we'd rather work on it for you, and really there's only one way to work with, which is through a designer that only developers have access to. So anyways, enough about the thing I didn't even want to mention. So what I did want to mention are over on the left-hand side, the document library and the custom list. So really the one in the middle, the custom list, is what technically everything in SharePoint's built on. Everything's built on a list. Even document libraries that you see with files and all kinds of stuff, images. There's all different kinds of libraries that you can have. Form libraries, page libraries, which I'm going to demo for you in a couple minutes. That's they're all built on the custom list. So then go over to the left, the document library, like I just mentioned. So you can see underneath there's under where it says apps you can add, there's document libraries, form libraries, wiki page libraries, picture libraries, all kinds of stuff that you can store inside SharePoint, except one, which is videos. And as I mentioned before, marketing works with us. We upload videos to YouTube. We use Google's storage instead of our own, and we can just embed that code, like I mentioned, that they did in accounting. So this is a very small assortment. It looks like it's a complete page, but if you were on the page itself, you can scroll down and see a bunch of stuff like calendars. There at the bottom, you can see links, and then over on the right, you see contacts. So the top ones are basically when you click on it, you name it. Very basic. All you get is like a place to drag and drop files into. If you created a document library, you create a custom list. You basically just get one column, like in a spreadsheet. Basically, that A1 in a spreadsheet, that's what you would get is called the title column, and then you have to add your own. Again, I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a minute. So the bottom ones are actually like pre-canned. They'll have things like in links. It'll have title, and then next to it it'll say the URL, right, the Universal Resource Locator, which is basically a web link. So you would put in the title, a web link, and then save it, and then you would have basically something you can click on somewhere, and you can add those to your home page or just keep them in a separate list that people can go to and have a full menu of links there. Announcements are cool. They have an expiration date for announcements. You might want to scroll on your screen and you send a message. People can click on it to get detail, and then after it reaches the expiration date, it disappears. Tax comes with a lot of fields, I mean, I think you can have like up to 2 or 3 different addresses for that contact. So it fills in the blanks for you. So it makes things a little bit quicker. And speaking of quicker, at the top of the screen says, site contents is a little search box there. So if you did want to find like the calendar, and you can see it's not actually alphabetized at the top, it's showing that it's sorted by newest. Let's say you just didn't want to go and scroll through and look for something at the end. Just type in something there, hit the little search icon, and it'll find it for you, and any other variations on that name. So the next thing is we're actually going to start getting into the demo part of this, and I didn't mention it before, but the training really is a lot of lecture, a lot of demonstration, and then at the end you'll see where we're going to offer some new training options and also a way to get a workshop with me. So if there is something specific, that you wanted to do on the nursing site or something, and I know, Eileen, we've gone through a couple of these workshops. I do workshops as well. Generally, I like to stick to 30 minutes because if we go too much, we're going to lose focus. So it's nice to just have very focused shops on stuff that you want to do. Maybe work on your Daisy pictures. I know that's a big deal there. So we can do stuff like that in workshops. Okay, so we're just kind of skimming the surface here of all the stuff we can do. So the next essential to understand is the Microsoft ribbon and the settings cog. These things you click on the most when you're working on these sites. So ribbon is basically what Microsoft calls their menu. Ever since I think version 2007 of Office, they made it thicker to fit picture and text. Way back in the day, Windows 95 and Office 95 and all those things, it would all just be text. So they wanted to have a way to also give you a graphical representation of what the alert me is, a little bell there. So they call it the ribbon, and over on the top right corner we have the settings cog. I didn't take a screenshot of what happens when you click it, but when you do click it, which I'll show in a demo, when you do click it, you get an idea of what kind of permission you have to what you're looking at. So if you are on a site and maybe you wanted to jump in and help maybe kind of site on a page or something like that, in nursing you see a page there, and what can maybe I want to put some emphasis on this, whatever. You can click on that settings cog, and if it says edit page, then you can tell that you have the rights admin to edit that page that you're looking at. And it works on all kinds of pages too. Like for instance, we're looking at here where you see that baked lasagna is the potluck that I used as the demo for this. And maybe you wanted to add like a picture of some kind of holiday thing, a snowflake, because this is the IT holiday potluck. You can click on that settings cog, go to the edit page, and actually be able to drop in a web part and add a picture of whatever you wanted, the snowflake or Santa or whatever. You can actually edit these pages as well. It's not just web pages. You can also edit these list pages and document library pages. So I prepared a few videos here for you, and I just did them today, so they're a little rough around the edges. I'll try and narrate as best as I can, but I can't read my own mind what I was going to do next. So let's see how well I can keep on pace here. The first thing I wanted to show you today was how to create a list. And not just create a list, I'm also going to be showing you how we change columns and stuff like that. Let's just go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to click on the list, and here we go. So what we're looking at here is the IT My Department page, and I'm clicking the site contents. We go to this hence, we're going to see everything that exists within this site. So remember that folder structure. This list of contents down there only exists here. It's my department's own content. So if you were to go to another site, it would look different. Now this page should look familiar. This is the apps page. And in a moment, it's going to populate it with all the different types of apps, right? And so at the top is going to be those top three. I'll show you here. I have a bunch there. We have the calendar. We have the links. So I'm getting a list. So I clicked on the list, giving it a title, create. And in the background, SharePoint's going to create for us this list, and it's it here in the apps, site contents, forgive me, and then you can tell it's the new one because it says new. That new label will stay there for 24 hours. There I'm trying to create just one field called title. It's a regular text box, and and you cannot delete it. So usually you have to find a way to reuse it. So now I'm going to show you how we can go in and rename it, and then we're going to create some new columns and work on some views. I'll try and explain that as I'm watching the video with you. So here's the settings, the list settings. we'll come back in here in a couple minutes. What I list, and I clicked on that ribbon and I selected list settings. It took me to that list settings page. I on the actual title column. It took me just kind of renaming it and putting in a description. You can make it required or not. Clicking, we come back to the list settings page. See it there renamed to potluck item. And there it is. It's been renamed. Need a couple more. I had to click, and now I'm going to click. There it goes. So you know what? I can pause it here for a second. So different types of data types that you can add. Now, if you were a regular developer, you know, back here with C# and .NET and all those different programming languages that we use here, you can select what kind of data you want to store, but then you also have to add it to the page. You have to choose the right kind and link that stuff together with your variables and all this stuff. SharePoint, all you do is you just give it a name, you tell it what type, and when we go to the forms, you're going to see it's actually going to have it there for us. So let me go ahead and click here. So it was a multi-line text box called Notes. And with that creates a special kind of text box, which we'll look at in a moment. But for now, to create another column here with another special control type. So responsible, right? Who's going to bring what? And then down we can see that, you know, that'll change down there in a moment, because when I select person or group, then at the bottom here, I'm going to scroll. Okay, and those are all the different types of data. But notice this changed down here. I don't know if you can tell a big difference, but for instance, you can say, you know, choose from all groups or just a certain SharePoint group. What your moment, okay, now I'm going to show you how to reorder the columns, because I want the responsible to appear above the notes. Now you see that? There's a loop there. Actually click on it and say reorder those columns, and then you just choose the right number and it shuffles it around for you. And now we have the potluck item and the responsible and the notes in that order. So I'm clicking on IT holiday, and I'm coming back to the list, but notice these still aren't in order here. I switched the order in the form, but I didn't switch it on what's called the view. So there's just, okay, I'll show you here in the form that notes is actually the last field, but here it's showing up in the middle. I kind of make a match, right? In order to do that, I don't want to change the underlying data. I just want to change what's called the view. Right now we have one view called all items, and I'm going to modify it. So a little similar. I might pause it here because I know this video is moving kind of quick, so I am going to pause it. So what we're looking at here is similar to the view that we're showing, but what's the difference? The first demo that's showing you was adding columns. I'm actually affecting the data structure or the schema. And when you click on new item, you're looking at the form. But what we're here is just a view. A view is actually a way to filter things, or maybe I don't want to show you the notes right in that column, you know, that grid view there. Maybe I want to just deselect it by removing the checkbox and only showing you the potluck item and the person responsible, and you're going to have to click on it to see the notes, you know. So I can remove it, I can shuffle them. So that's a little bit different, and I hope I didn't confuse you more. But the point is, when you're adding columns and reorganizing them and stuff like that, you're actually affecting the data structure. We're just adding the way you see it, the view. Okay, so let's keep going. I did the same way I did before when I was affecting the data structure, and now there we go. Now it's in the right order. We have the potluck item, the person responsible, and the notes. So let's look at the form, which we did in a moment, and again, that's not going to change. We weren't changing that. We're just changing the way we're looking at the data in the data view. So go ahead and add a couple items. If I have a fast forward button, but I'm not going to press that, and there's that baked lasagna. Luckily, it was after lunch. Sometimes their name is just a quicker way to get somebody's name there, but you can let out, you know, in the long form, I guess, by putting his full name in there. And now put in a couple more, and then I'm going to show you a quick power user trick of copying and pasting from Excel. So as long as you get the columns in the same order in your Excel spreadsheet, meaning, you know, pot item, person responsible, notes, you can copy right from Excel into SharePoint. And I'm going to show you that in a quick demo right now. So in this case, I didn't put a person responsible. It was actually a mistake. But I'm going to hear how we can quickly correct it in this view. So right here's a link called Edit This List. And look at that, I can actually break it into like this group, kind of like Excel. Yeah, Gonzalez's, so it gave me an error there. Getting duplicated. I'm just going to go ahead and put them again there, because what I want to do is this. So over this Excel spreadsheet, it is, and you can see I used usernames. That's the best way to do it because there could be duplicate names. I'm just going to select those, copy it, go over to the first leftmost cell, just click it once. There's a bug if you double click. And all I did was hit Control V on my keyboard, the paste command, and it added them all for me. And I've done, I'll just say hundreds. I've done more than that, but I don't want you trying anything too big. I've done more than hundreds at a time of rows to paste and stuff like that. So stuff there. So that was creating a list. If you have any questions on that, go ahead and put it into the chat. We'll circle back and I'll answer some questions about that. So list. Now let's take a look at, how do I go back? Left arrow, right? Yep. So now I want to look at creating a document library. So a similar story here. Oops, let me bring it over to right. And then let me rewind. So I'm going to go back to our settings cog at the top right. And let me see if I can catch. Okay, I'm pausing it right there because I did want to show you those different options: edit page, add a page. All those things are available to you if you're an admin of the site. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking on Site Contents there to show you again my site's content. So I'm going to click on that and to create a document library. And I'm going to pause just one more time when the next screen comes up. What I wanted to mention was, some people struggle with how to justify when to create a document library or when to use an existing one. I'm always going to tell you to favor using existing document libraries, because what happens is take on the idea that it's kind of like a folder. So you wouldn't want to create a folder when you have a C drive. Right? I mean, you wouldn't want to create a C drive when you can just add a folder to your C drive, right? So that's the way I kind of equate it. When you create a document library, what you are doing is you're creating another root level storage place, meaning like a C drive on your computer. You don't need a whole new drive to store your photos. You can just add a new folder, right, called Photos to your C drive and just store your photos there. I just wanted to mention that real quick. Some kind of a story here. We're going to add an app. This time it's moving a little quicker. I'm going to create a library called Demo Docs. I'm going to click on Create. Another feature that you can do, which is the drag and drop feature. So I have folder first. I think more docs. Yep. And now into there, I want to put some files in there. Well, I could sit there and upload one at a time, or I can use SharePoint's drag and drop feature. It only works, actually in 2016, it'll work with Chrome too. Currently, it's only with Internet Explorer. And look at that. All I'm doing is selecting a bunch of documents, boom, drag and drop, and then there they are inside of that folder, because I was looking inside of the contents of that folder. So it's a real simple document library. You can watch these videos if you wanted to see how to do it again. We're going to be posting them online too, so you can actually go in and within 30 seconds you can see how to create a document library, how to create a folder, how to drag and drop. So the next thing is how to create a page, and this one does take a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and click on this now. There we go. So a page within the IT site to kind of all the information about this event. So let me pop there. What I did was I scrolled down and I clicked on an app folder. Let me just start it over. So I'm clicking Contents again, and then I'm going to look for this app folder called Site Pages. So that's where all my site pages live. This stuff is up to you. It might seem like it's got a purpose and that's all it's for. You can actually create pages in any kind of a library. It's not best practices, but even if it was an image library, you could create a page there. If it's a document library, hey, I want to create a page here. You could do all that, but to keep it kind of clean and under best practices, creating the site pages. Now, when you do go to the site pages, there's a little bit of a trick now, which I don't know why they added this in SharePoint 2013. You can hear, and normally, like in a document library, you see a bunch of files and folders and stuff like that. They changed it, I guess, to kind of present this new type of page Microsoft added in 2010, which is called the Wiki. And I'm not crazy about it. I'm not sure if we're still going to have it in 2016, but that's what Microsoft did. Now, to see all the pages, you have to do this. You're going to go to Page, and then you do All Pages, and then it's going to look just like a document library, and you can actually, click on a specific page you want to edit and stuff like that. And they are. So right now, there's just the one that we were reviewing, which is the how to use this library and the home page. So now we're going to go through and create what's called a web part page. You're going to see in a second here when I click on the drop there, we have the wiki page, which is the one I'm not going to be demonstrating for you. It's nice. It's got some new features like creating zones to put web parts in, but it's not that to describe. You really have to be very well versed working with SharePoint for a while to use it. I like the confines of the web part page. You'll see what I mean. They're called web zones. See what they are in a moment. So we're creating a name and the template that we can use, and they're not graphic represented, so you kind of have to get an idea. We see, a full page is obviously just one web part, a web zone, which I'm going to just show you in a moment what that means. A web zone is just basically a place to contain your information. If you wanted to break it up into like a header with a left column and a body, you can click on those and kind of, get an idea what they are. You'd have to create it to get an idea, but it kind of tells you in text what they are. The name, I'm just leaving it with the default 3 columns with the header and footer, and we'll see what that looks like. It's go ahead and we started in the site pages, so it's going to go ahead and store. I could change my mind and store it in a different document library altogether there. Those are all the different templates. I'm going to hit create. So here's the header at the top. There's the foot at the bottom and 3 columns. So let me describe to you what we're looking at here. We have 5 different web part zones or web zones. Inside of them, they're empty. They all just have the button, add a web part, right? So with these different web zones, and inside of them is where the web parts are going to live. I'm going to click play here, keep going along with the demo. So when a web part, what happens at the top is I'm going to get a new menu. So on the left-hand side, you can see there's categories. There are maybe a little over a dozen categories, and inside of each one, there are multiple web parts. So there's a lot of web parts to choose from. But I think throughout the entire year, I use two different types of web parts I get by 99% of the time. There is one third one called the script editor, and you kind of really have to know what you're doing to use those. So I don't demonstrate it a lot. I don't know if you've ever had that problem when you're looking at a website and then you get this pop-up that says the scripts are taking a long time to run. Well, somebody maybe either programmed the script poorly or you visited the site in a bad state, in a bad session, and the scripts are having trouble. So we don't cover script writing, but my point is I get by with 2 web parts, and there are dozens of them. So I'm going to show you 2 web parts today. One is the app web part, and one is the content editor web part. So the app web part we're going to use to add to the page the list of IT potluck, the holiday potluck information there where people can actually, click on new and fill the form out. Why is it called an app web part? It's because it's based on a list. Remember, apps are lists, document libraries, calendars. All those kinds of things are apps, okay? The content editor web part, I like to refer to it as like a little mini Word document where what you see is what you get. If you put a picture here, you're going to see the picture on the website. It works just like Word. You're going to see it in a couple minutes. So let's just keep going. Here, I believe with what are you doing, Leo? Okay, we're content editor web part first, and then this. So it added it to the section where I clicked on it, but I can actually drag and drop it and put it wherever we want. Now I remember we're going to add a picture here. It's kind of like a header, a banner. So to do that, a lot of times I go out to Google and I type in a picture that I can use. For the images, and I have that one there at the top. We're in South Florida. I'll put a little eclipse moon or that sun there for today, right? I'm going to send to my desktop. .jpg. I like that name. I'm going to keep it. Except I'm going to click here on the desktop so I know where to get it. And not any of this, I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. Go right back to our page, and now we're going to insert a picture. I'm going to go up to the ribbon bar. There, it's on my computer, so I clicked on my computer. And it's reading my computer, so it takes a minute. There we go. I'm going to file. Just have to look for it. I have to sort it because it was the most recent thing. There it is at the top. And now that to the sheet assets, it automatically put it in the right place. Watch this. As I drag this picture, and if I squish it too much, it still snaps back into the right proportion. So if I'm off a little bit, it'll put it into the right proportion for me. Now add an app web part. So that top one is a content editor web part. No, before we do that, let's get rid of that text. We don't want that showing up above our banner. So this part's a little bit counterintuitive. What I did was, on the right corner of each of these web parts, when I point to it, there's a little triangle that comes up. That's actually a hook for a menu. I clicked on it, and I got the menu, and then I clicked on Edit Part. And to the right, what happened was it presented this new web part panel, right? And all different. This is a content editor web part, so it's going to have some different options. It was a document or an app web part. It would have different options. So they're not always the same. You kind of have to play with all this stuff to get used to it. Mio also, when we're done, I like to give a sandbox kind of web for you to play with. So I'm going to give one of those to you. That's where this kind of stuff you can play around with, or create your own sub-sites on your own pages, on your own sites, and you can play around with the different look and feel and the different web parts and all that without putting it there for everybody to see, right? So we have a couple options for you there. So let's keep going. I'm clicking. What I wanted to do was hide that text there that says Content Editor. If I was to save the page right now and just click on Page, Stop Editing, that text would appear above that holiday thing, and that's not a very nice looking banner. In order to do that, and it's not very intuitive, I had to look at the Content Editor's web part panel, right, by clicking a triangle, hitting Edit Web Part, and then go down to what's called Chrome Type. So Chrome gives you a few options, and it's kind of covered by the web video player there, but it says Default, None, Title Order, and way at the bottom there, almost too obscure to see, it says Border Only. So two that are actually the same are Default and Title Only. So title only, it makes sense. Okay, we're talking about a title. That does make sense. Border kind of makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is Chrome Type, and I've never found out the actual answer for it. But Michelle on the line probably knows, like when you're dealing with automobiles and motorcycles and stuff, the chrome's always like that last little polished piece that you add to make it really pop, So not quite as exciting as that, not quite as exciting as a chrome muffler, but that's what I kind of related to. It's the only way I can kind of keep it in my head that I need to go to the Chrome Type to get those little, bedazzlements out, right? So I can't believe I used the word bedazzle, but that's fine. So anyways, to get rid of it, I'm going to click on None, and then we'll get rid of that text. But when we go to save, it'll be gone in a minute. Now add as an app web part. Look for, see, there's all the contents that are in that page. If I was to click on Site Contents, we'd see all that stuff there. And in fact, there's our IT Holiday Potluck that we created and I demoed for you a couple minutes ago. I'm going to put in there and watch this. A little summary of that list here. We don't have to go to the dedicated page to look at it. We can actually have it right here on our home page. You can do this with document libraries, calendars, anything that's an app. So that the title, okay, different. I didn't have the edit on that. So you could do different things like, in this example, they're telling you that you can actually change the title if you wanted. You can remove the toolbar if you want. We don't want to do that here, but I'm just showing you if I hit apply, that item and edit this list goes away. See, clean it up. You can change banded, like that light beige color with the white banded. We can get rid of stuff like that. And I'm going to bring back that toolbar. First is add some text here. So what I'm doing is just like on the top, I'm adding a content editor web part. Click there. And then scroll down the area to kind of type into. And what I'm doing here, why I'm circling the mouse up there is when I click inside of that content editor web part, it changed the context of what I'm working on to like this Word document. See all stuff, paste and undo and different types of fonts and way to justify left, right, center, and if you click through those different tabs, you're going to see a bunch of different options that you can do with the pictures, with pictures and all kinds of stuff, tables and all that. So I'm going to click it here. We're going to add some text, join us for, I believe I said Merry Ment or something like that, a 2017 IE potluck. And then I'll go ahead and click on there, and this is all just real demonstration. Obviously on your site you're going to put a little bit more time and effort into it. Line up on the list to the left. And then sign up, there's no new button, so we're going to add it back. So over here, that toolbar back, the summary toolbar. There's a full toolbar as well, but all we need is basically a way for them to say new. And the button's back. And then we're going up to the ribbon page, and it's always the same thing. Click on page and stop editing. When 2016, it's going to be a little different. So this is probably something that I'm going to get calls on. Folks are going to see it up front. When you're in the new environment, there's actually a new feature called publishing, which means it'll be a 3-step process in the future. It's going to be save, check in, and publish. And we'll get more into that. But when you come back or whatever for the refresher, I'll put a video out there or something. But the differences are when you save, you can see it. When you check it in, your team can see it. And when you publish, everybody can see it, right? So in that check-in phase, it's nice because you have other people working on it, or you want your manager to kind of take a look and approve. They can see it, but not everybody else can see the changes, right? So that's this feature there, is that check-in allows you to just let your team see it. Publish means we're live. Let's keep going. I'm hitting stop editing, and it's immediately visible. Whoops, I let the content editor 2 thing there. Let's out. Notice, but I want to get rid of this one, so we're going to go back, and we're going to look for that thing called Chrome Type under it. Down and select None, and apply. You can always put those borders on too, whatever you think looks nice. And you know what? I think it's better if we do it on the right instead. Well, text on the left and and I'll warn you, kind of mess up here, where I saved by accident. Instead of putting it over to the right text over to the left, I accidentally stack them in the same column. But notation does help teach us stuff. And I'm going to make the mistake, but now I'll be able to see it. But I never even made the mistake for some reason, though. They're shipping there, folks. But let's fix it. So I'm going to go back. I'm tended to have the form on the right, or that list on the right. Look at that. That's very odd. Little bug there. So I moved the drag and drop to hit stop editing. And now we'll see what it looks like. And if I do click on new item, let's see, I thought I stopped there, but and there's that form. So we'll click on new item, it adds the item there. I come back to the home page, and then you'll see it there. Now, there's another thing I wanted to demo for you too. Last little demonstration, we'll do some questions, and I'll show you some more stuff. But the main thing I wanted to show you was links, because I got a call today about that. So adding a link. Now, let's say we wanted to put this page on my home page. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on the top, and let me just start it over there, and I jump right in. So I want to copy that at the top, right? So to do that, I right-click anywhere in the white area, and I go down with the mouse to copy. And then using navigation there, the breadcrumbs navigation, I'm going to go back to the top level of my department site. This is just something for my department. I don't need to go to the IT page to do this. It's just the IT My Department page. And I'm going to add something here to the top right, just above the word projects. So back to my settings cog and click on Edit Page. And see the web parts for this page. They're a little different. The one that we chose had 3 columns, a header and a footer. In this case, we have 2 columns. So I click Add a Web Part there at the top. And I just want to add a link. So for that, I'm going to add another Content Editor web part. Right here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to remove the Content Editor wording. I'm just going to say something about along the lines of, the potluck text, and I'm going to make the first thing say clear, and I'll make that clickable with a link. By the way, there too, instead of in this demo, I'm going to just select the text, put a picture there. All I have to do is click the picture and do exactly what I do after I click here. So it works the same. And I do it here because I don't write merriment very often. So right, we're good. So now I'm going to select the words click here. I want to make that a link. Now to do that, it's kind of weird, but we insert a link. I don't make the wording up. I just learn it. And in this case, I already copied into an address. I copied the address, so I have the address. Now at the top is what we call the friendly name. That's called title or something. Text display. That's the frame. That's what's going to show up. But here we paste the ugly website address. You could test it if you wanted. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And this now, when I point to it, you can see it turn red. So I know it's a hyperlink or hot link if this was $19.99. But I'm selecting it. I want to underline it. I want to make it look like a link, so you can do stuff like that. And let's increase the size of it too. Let's make it bigger. Christmas here for some people, relief. And let's make, why not? Just showing you your options, giving you some ideas. And I think the next step is we're just going to click on page, stop editing. Now click on this link. Page. So that you edit, work with links. We looked at 4 videos. These are going to be available for you to work with, to actually go back, rewind, fast forward. We're going to add some. They're silent right now, but we will be adding some key information, like explanations what to do next, why to do that, and all that in plain text. So you don't even have to listen to it. You just watch it. So we're working on that with our Learning and Development Services department. So the demos and some of the things we're going to be offering to you in the future are workshops, which we've always done. Half our workshops seem to work out great. We can go for an hour. It just depends. You tell me what you need, and I'll let you know how much time I think we're going to need to talk. Microlearning is a new thing. We see it all the time on Facebook. I had never knew that there was actually a name for it, but all those things when they're videotaping above a stove and somebody's, assembling all these ingredients and all that cool stuff, it's called microlearning, and we're going to be using that. There's also online live, which is what we're doing right now, and there's going to be some instructor-led training on a needed basis, because to bring people over here to our training site, people have to leave for everybody a few hours. So it's probably best that we wait on doing stuff like that. So there's a few options there. Just reach out to me, whichever ones you're interested in doing, and we can go for it. So that was, Eileen, I know that you have been in the training before, and I always open this up to question and answer at the end. I see any questions posted there, but feel free to just call out my name and let me know any questions. We still have time. I can do a couple demos for you. So anybody have any questions for me?
Actually,
Yes.
I'm going to be meeting with Jenny, because we want to do this for the Nurses Week.
Okay.
As soon as I get more information, I think I'm going to reach out to you.
Absolutely. When is that?
Nurses Week is in May, but we start preparing for it in October.
Oh, great. Yep, sounds good. So, I know that they've been looking for somebody. I don't know if anybody updated the DAISY picture and information. So reach out whenever you're ready. I'm going to go ahead and get
I will be doing those as well.
Oh, that's great. So, for that, we could probably cover it in a half an hour, but let's block an hour. Let me know, when is a generally good time for you, and we'll work on that.
Okay.
Great. Eileen, did you have anything for me? Thank you so much. So I know that you had some questions for me. The
only thing that I have trouble with is I did, but when I go to try to attach my own options, like from what I have, I don't have the option to search for it.
You don't have options to search for it inside of your picture library?
Yes, it only gives me like the pictures that have been uploaded, and then if I go like to my computer, my documents, nothing comes. It doesn't. Not an option.
Okay. Let your site and if
with it now, but it's not working out for me.
no. What's the title of it? Of site
Global
itself?
Health Services.
Global Health Services. Okay. To work on this. So
well, that was just actually right now. I don't know why.
Sure.
Maybe
No
it
problem.
was right now.
Okay, so how we're going to clean this up. The first thing I'm going to do is move these out, because what you've done here is you've added an app web part. Assuming is you wanted to add the actual picture, right? So
yes.
to add the picture, what you need is a content editor web part. That's that Word document type web part. What you're putting here is like a summary of that document library. That's not what we need. So if you are in edit mode, go ahead and hit stop editing, and I'll jump in here and kind of do a demonstration on it.
Can I I'm in edit mode, but I want to learn. I'll watch you. I just want to make sure that I know how to do it.
It's going to be me telling you to click on it anyways, and you'll see. It's just going to be maybe 5-10 clicks, and we'll figure it out here. So again, step 1 is to remove what we have here. Step 2 is to add a content editor web part, and then step 3 is to fill in the blanks, right? Get rid of the title and add a picture, right? So I'm going to go over to the settings cog and hit edit page.
Okay.
Go ahead and get rid of these two. I'm going to just click on this and hit delete.
Oh, it does the whole thing. Okay.
I'm going to get rid of this one too. All we're doing is getting rid of the web part.
Okay.
Oh, at the top, we're going to add a content editor web part. So I'm going to here, and I'm going to look for the content category. The content editor web part is selected. Since I always hate it when I save and that content editor wording is still up there, I'm going to do that first. So I'm going to go over.
I'm not sure what you did. I lost you. I'm actually walking through it with you. I'm doing it at the same time as you. I'm not going to save it, but I just want to see if I can walk through it.
Okay, no problem. So again,
I'm in content editor now. What do I do? I'm in content editor under parts.
Okay, so then you click on add.
Okay.
It looks like it is picking up your changes. So, on your screen. Computer?
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah, this didn't work out well. Yeah.
I'll stop.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to delete this here.
Okay.
Oh, have the content editor web part, right? This is after you clicked on add. Get rid of the words content editor. So again, I showed you a couple times in those videos, but we click on edit web part. We get the web part panel right. And then on here and say Chrome type, none. And you can see options there, border, all that stuff. We none. So I'll click on apply. Do save that wording at the top won't appear. Now, we click out of here and we start adding pictures and text and all that stuff. And it seems like if it's just a banner, we're just going to be adding a picture. So I clicked on Insert Picture. I'm trying to add the banner that's already in your site. That's what it kind of seemed like. Or were you trying to upload something from?
Yeah, I was trying to add the one that we used to have before to at least have something there.
Oh, sure thing. So in order to do that,
I do have a new one that I don't mind add. Right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I think I was doing it. I was going to a different.
Like or something. Yeah, it's not my favorite interface. It definitely is not my favorite interface. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second, because it's the one I'm pointing to right now that I'm going to use, and I really don't like. But sometimes if it's already in SharePoint, that's what it means. It's from SharePoint. You got to go through that. So the top one is if it's on your computer. This is if it's maybe some picture you found on Google, but you don't want to upload it, but you still want to use it. So you right-click and copy the web address. And you can use this. You can actually paste where that picture is on the internet. And you can use it from an address or from SharePoint. So here's why I don't like the SharePoint one, but sometimes you just have to use it. And they designed the scrolling on this so that it kind of just drops you off in the last place you were at. where are we right now? Look at where we are. We're in the BI department. I don't know. Is that? Okay, yours is GHS, right? Global Health.
Yeah.
So first thing is I don't like that, right? So I'm gonna search here. Here's the hierarchy of the
I think
entire.
this is where I got lost and I couldn't find my
Oh my
things
goodness,
on my computer.
it is not easy. So, but you know, if you just do it step by step and understand what you're looking at, hey, you know, you're a step ahead. So over here we're at the home level, right? And how do we scroll, right? Shouldn't there be like a scroll bar here? Well, I think there should be, but there's not. So the way to do it is it's all the way over on this side, over on the right-hand side. So you scroll down, and things like departments. Hey, that sounds familiar, right? We live in the departments domain. So I keep scrolling down, and Brain Institute was that, you know, that's BI. So I can collapse that and maybe be able to see things a little bit clearer. Okay, but it's not doing anything. Let me just keep scrolling down. So I'm looking now for the Global Health Services page, and there it is. So I'm like on that. Oh, I see. I have to actually. The little triangle doesn't work. You have to click on the word, and then we start seeing, you know, more familiar stuff. We're looking for your department images folder. Let's see here. Depth images is no, because you know what? No, I think you might not. I'm in the wrong locale again. So roll down again on all the right, and then we look for there's. Oh wait, but this is Brain Institute. We're looking for Global Health. Open up Global Health. Global Health Centers, my department. There it is. The depth images. So we kind of have to take your clue because you see up here, it's telling us we're in the Global Health site now. So we go into the depth images. Okay, so you can see, not my favorite way to work with this. It's best if you have it on your computer and upload it as you need to. When you do have to fish something out, you kind of have to jump through these hoops, okay? So I'll go ahead and click on this. Kind of built the URL for me, the location. It's in GHS site in the department, in the depth images document library, and it's a file called banner.jpg. All right, let's hit insert, and there it is. It looks like there might be a little bit of something above it, so I'm going to click right above it. I'm going to hit backspace. Yeah, there was a line above it. With Word, and you accidentally delete it. Oh boy, oops. Well, there's the undo button. Thank goodness. Click on page, stop editing, and now it should work just fine. And there we go. Again, the problem was that you were adding an app web part of your whole department images library. What to do was add a content editor, and then look for your picture or upload a new one. So when you go back to fix this, the steps are going to be a page.
I'm gonna try to fix.
Oh, are you making over there again?
No, I was going to, but I'm not on the edit right now.
Well, it looks like whatever happened, it wiped out that change, but no problem. Hit insert picture from SharePoint. It should be where I left.
I'm actually gonna try to. I'm not at all. I was gonna try to add a different image from my computer.
Gotcha. And so, anyways, I'll go ahead and wrap it up at this point. If you do have any more questions, you know, let's definitely talk about some workshops. Send me over your requests, and we'll go from there. We're going to be putting some more, you know, self-guided learning stuff on the intranet for you to go back and recap. There's plenty of stuff I cannot cover in the time frame that we're given, so there'll be more stuff there. You know, more tips and stuff, and stuff about how to lead and how to close web parts and what the difference is and all that. We'll be putting online soon. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. There is another training like this on Wednesday. We're going to be putting a little bit more content there, so feel free to join us. I'm sure we'll cover it in a workshop in case you can't make it, so no worries there. We are currently looking at, when was it? September 8th is when we're going to start on the deployment of SharePoint 2016, and we'll be wrapping it up. I believe that would be the 11th on Monday. We'll be all done. We're wrapping it up on the 10th, which is a Sunday, so you'll be able to start working in the new environment. We will be holding some training once we get there. We're going to definitely keep you up to date with everything, but if you do have questions, feel free to send them over to me right away, and we'll start working on those answers for you. So much, everybody. All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.